I'm sitting at my desk scouring the internet for hot topics and going through current events like I normally do. And I came across a very interesting story that has my emotions on a roller coaster. It's about a 17-year-old boy who knocked his teacher unconscious over the confiscation of his Nintendo Switch, and he is now facing up to 30 years in prison. The teacher is white, he is black. And of course, our immediate response is, but then when you read the story, it makes you go, and now my emotions are all over the place. So we want to talk about it. Want to talk about it? You ain't got no choice. Here you go. Girl, I'm in here reading the story, y'all, and immediately the story headline says, hulking Florida teen who beat teacher unconscious over Nintendo Switch pleads guilty. Hulking, as in hulking. So, immediately, those of us that know, we know what stage is being set, right? Then I go on to read the story, and it describes that the young man is 6'6", and it shows his picture. And of course, he's black. And not only is he black, he's a dark-skinned black. Now, some people could argue, him being 6'6" in the story is germane to the story because it paints the picture, of how big he is and the damage that he can do. And again, those of us that know, we know. Listen, if he's a student and he's a 17-year-old boy with autism in special classes and he beat up the teacher, as far as I'm concerned, those are all the details we need to know. Whether he was 2 feet tall or whether he was 9 foot big, he's a student that's 17 with mental health issues. Now, that's some people's argument. And in the beginning of the story, it was mine. I was like, here go white people once again being white. They throw out all the dirty adjectives to penalize and make black young boys look like black old men when it comes to crime. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm willing to let the 6'6" description of the young man pass. I don't like the hulking Florida teen who beat the teacher Switch. Okay. So then the article starts. The hulking Florida teen who beat a female teacher unconscious after his Nintendo Switch game was confiscated at school pled guilty to the shocking crime on Monday and faces up to 30 years in prison. The young man is 17. It goes on to say that he took the paraprofessional to the floor, was kicking her, punching her in the back of the head a dozen times. They found surveillance photos and video of the situation. And it says the young man is autistic. He caught to the crime, and he will have his sentence determined by a judge. Now, his defense team was trying to say that he was mentally incompetent to stand the crime, to stand trial. That got thrown out, and they found him competent. Also, he was originally going to be charged as a juvenile, and for whatever reason, that was thrown out, and the charges were upgraded to adult. Now, see, at this point, y'all, my emotions is boiling because I'm like, okay, see, this is giving me real Jim Crow. This is giving me real. The cards are stacked against him. This is giving me real. They're doing everything they can to taint the jury pool because he is a juvenile. I hate that the lady got beat in the back of her head in the school in a special ed class. But for those of us who know anything about the school system, and for those of y'all that work into it, no tea, no shade. Things like this happen every day in America when you're dealing with hell. It don't even have to be special needs children at this point. With the regular children's, okay? The teachers is getting their ass whooped. They're getting their ass whooped on their paycheck and they're getting their ass whooped down to the classroom. Now, the paycheck part is a whole other video for a whole other day. And this was not meant to be funny, but I'm just going to laugh a little bit because we need a little bit of laughter because the war going on in Israel. Anyway, I'm all in my feelings at this point. I'm like, okay, the way they describing him, then it's 6 feet, hulking Florida teen. They upgraded his charges. They said he's mentally competent to stand trial. Like, they're just not giving this young man a chance. So now I'm mad. I'm mad. Now here's where things get interesting, y'all. I continue reading the story, and I feel like this was purposely written this way. It says, that the young man will be faced with the minimum of probation and the maximum for 30 years. Now, before I go into the rest of the story, I want y'all to drop down in the comments right now and tell me, what do you think is an appropriate punishment for this young man? Even stop and pause the video at this point. What do you think, using these details, 17 years old, autistic, special ed, flipped out, beat the lady unconscious over Nintendo Switch? Immediately, my first response was, he needs to get one of those little lesser charges like everybody else do. It needs to be one of those charges that sticks but can later be expunged. You know what I'm saying? I would have been content with him getting like a year in juvie and like 3 years probation. I would have been cool with him getting no juvie and like 5 years probation plus mandatory counseling. I was looking for something in that ballpark. All right. So go ahead, drop down, give me your sentence recommendation at this point. Now we're going to move on. Now here's the thing. Whitefish good because, number one, she gets to sue the school board. She'll get money from that. And as of now, she has also been, there's a GoFundMe, and she's got 104K as of the time that this article was written, 104,000. So listen, pay me for my pain. It seems like this ass whooping essentially was worth it because she done came up on about 3-4 years worth of damn salary. She came up on a couple years worth of salary because she was a paraprofessional. She wasn't even a teacher. She done came up on at least 3 years worth of salary, not to mention whatever lawsuit money, workers' comp she may get from the state and from the school. Now, moving right along, and here is the gimme gotcha. It says that the troubled teen had 3 prior battery arrests before the assault. One included a jail fight in September. He reportedly threatened to kill the educator after being taken into custody, and so on and so forth. Now that y'all know he's had 3 prior battery charges, and after being taken into custody, threatened to kill the teacher, does it change what you think he should receive in jail time? For me, my gut reflex emotional response was, oh shit, throw his ass in jail. Okay? Now, not for 30 years, but this bitch need to go to jail. Then I thought about it and I'm like, okay, most students and children, they do things in the heat of the moment, but then when they get in trouble, they immediately become remorseful. At the point in which you've been detained by the police and you threatening to kill the lady, I'm like, throw his ass in jail. But then I'm like, wait a minute. That ain't even a normal response for somebody that's in trouble, and he really has issues. So then my sympathy hat comes on, because I'm like, he is a 17-year-old boy. Okay, let's take the autism and the mental challenges out of the picture. A regular, high-functioning, no mental illness having 17-year-old boy, excuse me, they are already fucked up in the damn head and immature and all these other things. So you take a 17-year-old boy and you layer on, mental deficiencies and so on and so forth. And I'm like, we have a problem here. The three prior battery charges obviously he has an impulse control issue. I don't want to say this to throw gas on the fire. A violence issue, but there can be an argument that's made that all of this stems from his, mental shortcomings. So the question then becomes, is jail the appropriate course of action for him? Is a mental institution the appropriate action for him? Do we give him a slap on the wrist and put him in therapy and hope that he doesn't do it again? Some people can argue that, regardless of his mental faculties, that we have a responsibility to keep the greater society safe, and throw his ass in jail to keep everybody safe. Fuck him. You know what I'm saying? That those could be some people's attitudes. And it's, guys, the reason why I got on here and want to talk to y'all is because I'm challenged by this. Now, granted, I'm not educated enough in the space of mental health. When I got my degree from Florida State University, them people ain't teach me shit about autism, nor did they teach me criminal justice. I don't know if somebody like this young man has the ability to be rehabilitated or that therapy can work this out of him. I'm willing to bet with 3 prior battery charges that he had that he was forced to deal with some type of therapy or some type of professional something or another. I would imagine his IEP in school and all those other things require that he get some type of special whatever, and it's not working. And the simple fact that he had his Nintendo Switch confiscated and it led to a woman being beat unconscious, it says that he does present a danger to society. So what are we to do? As a legal system, as a government, unfortunately, we don't have the resources, the wherewithal, the manpower, nor the capacity to individualize care and use public resources to just, specially care for one person. Now, part of me is like, he's 17, and I'm thinking to myself, what I was about to say was, why does he have a Nintendo Switch in school? His parents should have saw to it that stayed home. But now I'm talking about him as if he's a 9-year-old or a 3-year-old. I'm thinking back to high school. Hell, my parents were so non-involved in my education. My parents didn't check my book bag at all. There is not a single point in my education I can remember my parents checking my book bag. Now, I'm probably sure in kindergarten, which are grades that I don't remember, that they probably did. So there are tons of ways that the Nintendo Switch could have got to school. And that's just like saying these teens can't bring cell phones. So I'm going to scratch that from the record. But then again, if you know your child got special needs and you know that he's got the capacity to flip out at the drop of a dime, then maybe there should be some extra caring on the parents' part as it relates to him bringing Nintendo Switches to school. I don't know what the answer is. I don't have children, and I damn sure don't have one that's 6'6" and with special needs. So I don't know how this could have been mitigated. Or, hell, could it have been anything? Could it have been a pencil, a pen, a juice cup, a Starburst that would have caused the same reaction? And I'm beginning to think that anything that he had any type of emotional attachment to would have probably caused him to react the way he reacted. Now, let me ask y'all a question for those of y'all out there who work with children that have these afflictions or who have birthed children who have these issues. A lot of times we see the children with autism flip out in restaurants and flip out in the airports and so on and so forth. My question is, does that flipping out and tantrum behavior that we see at 6, 7, 9, does that escalate into beating people's ass when you get as big as this boy did? I don't know much about it. I don't know much of anything about it, but I'm willing to bet it's a tantrum at 6 and an ass whooping at 16. That's what my spirit, my heart, and my soul is telling me when it comes to these types of cases. So, I don't know. I need y'all to jump down in the comments and let me know what y'all think about this, because I'm really confused. But moreover, what do y'all think is the appropriate course of punishment for this young man, knowing all the details? And I need all my parents and my educators and security guards, community leaders, Boys and Girl Scout, janitors, to get in here and tell us how y'all feel and what y'all know about people, children in these situations. That's all I got. Ain't got no more. I'll talk to y'all hoes later. Bah.